one of the reasons I got out of the military was because I wanted to start a family. And I just knew that in the military, not that you can't have a family in the military. I just knew that for me, that wasn't going to be.
your experience.
That wasn't going to be what I wanted to do. So, and I've now have a very serious girlfriend. And just in the last year, we just hit 1 year. I've realized, like, also her love language is time. So it's, it's brutal. But I've come to realize, like, how much time a relationship takes, especially if, like Maid says, you're like putting in the work, which is real, and it takes work. Soulmates aren't.
Yeah, and
found,
work is
made.
time. As a wise guy with a receding hairline once said, soulmates aren't found, they're made.
So, where do you feel like you're at with that?
Oh, like dating, like talking. Yeah. It's tough, dude. I struggle with it because one of my biggest goals in life is to be a dad and a husband and have a family. Like, that's something that we share, and like, I think I would be so stoked for that to happen. At the same time, this opportunity that I have right now with my career and the things that are happening require so much time and attention. And this is just my experience, and it's a very different experience than a lot of human beings I think will end up having, because not only am I working from sometimes 7 a.m. to midnight when I'm home, but then I'm out on the road. I'm not in the same state more than, sometimes 48, 72 hours at a time. All of that together is not breeding grounds for, like, the budding of a brand new relationship, I mean, it's just tough.
I look at my relationship with my girlfriend, and if I was in the military, I mean, it just wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
It's just it just wouldn't have happened. And I mean, it makes me honestly feel happy that I made the decision to get out. And I think, like, for you, I think I'm also a little bit older than you. I'm 31. You're 27? 7? Okay, yeah. Like, do you feel like really it's just going to have to become a priority for you at some point? Like, you're going to have to choose.
And that's the game, right?
Yeah.
Like, at what point does it flip?
Yes.
And I go, I have to, because there's only so much gas in the gas tank, or like there's only so many RPMs that I can burn at or whatever. I'm not good at cars, so I don't know this analogy. But there's only so much time and energy that I have.
Yes.
At what point do I need to take some from the music is my girlfriend bucket and pour it into finding an actual girlfriend bucket?
Yeah.
That's a great question. I hold out hope that maybe it could come organically, and it's not something I really need to stress about. But at the same time, I also know, like, if you don't put in any time and effort into anything, it's really tough to see any results. Like, if you don't ever plant any seeds, you're probably not going to have any fucking corn.
Well, not to discourage you too, it's like it took more time than I thought.
Dude,
it's like
I've been in, like, long-term serious relationships, and I don't remember 100% because time is weird.
Yeah.
But when I think back on them, I'm like, oh my God, like, we would spend so much time together. And that it needed that 100%. And so, yeah, there's not like a definitive answer. I would say I look forward to that. I think there is this, like, which maybe this is the trap and this is how I fucking die alone. There's this, like, mountain. And if I can get over that mountain, I feel like the music stuff doesn't necessarily get busier after that. Like, even something like touring.
Well, even just
it
having
actually gets
budget,
easier.
Budget to hire team.
Correct. Like, a lot of stuff actually gets taken off my plate.
Yeah.
I think I watched a lot of guys do this or are going through this. Like, I watched Chris Lane. He was around my age, is kind of when we met. Maybe he was a couple years older than I am. And, he was at that, like, I have a number one foot down on the gas pedal thing. And then it felt like as things got easier musically, and this is all speculation, so whatever, but I feel like I could have a similar trajectory if that was his trajectory, is like, maybe early 30s, I'm like, okay, I'm not fighting to be in this industry, like, just as a human being anymore. People know who I am. I have something that nobody can take away from me. Financially secure, check some boxes. Maybe it's time to go out with the girl at the coffee shop. Maybe it's time to whatever.
Yeah.
Not that I don't, but like I'm a very particular person, as I'm sure that you know.
Yes.
And so, yeah. And like and everybody's this way, but I do think like I get very I cut things off very quickly or I go all in. I'm just this kind of
I'm
person.
the same, man.
And so I can feel, and maybe this isn't right, but it is what it is. And here's my red flag. Red Flags drops March 18th. Link in bio to pre-save the new single. Here's my red flag is I will cut off things if they're good, but they're not great, because I'm like, well, I don't have time for like the building, phase. So it's either got to be like red hot, and so I'm like, sick, let's do it, or I get out. But anytime I think it's been red hot, it's actually just rose-colored glasses. The reality is you meet somebody and you have to work and get to know them and like build a foundation. So like, yeah, that's my red flag. Because I'll dip out because I'm like, yeah, it's fine, but like, is it my wife?
Yeah.
I don't think so, or I don't know. So I'm out.
I feel like it's because there's just this thing in your life that you care so much about more. So that's your music.
I do. And that's the like gross realization. And it just is what it is. Like, I think there's seasons of life, and I think there's going to be a time where I watch a lot of guys in my industry. Like, you go from touring 150 days a year to like 60 because you're like, I've got 3 kids. So like, I'm going to do the summer circuit. I'll do some shows in the spring and some shows in the fall, but like, I want to be at baseball practice.
Yeah.
I want to see the recital.
Yeah.
I got to go on date night with my wife.
Yeah.
I think that will be a phase of my life. And like, hey, future me, how's it going? Tell me, did it work out? Like, I don't know. I can't know at this point. But I hope that there's a clip of me in 20 years being like, whoa, that was crazy. That was like single me, and I was addicted to music, and I was addicted to the grind, and like, I'm glad I did that because everything happened, but now I'm in a different phase. I think that will happen.
Yeah. I really feel that, man, because I'm, without revealing too much, just like that's one of the biggest things between me and my girlfriend is like, I have to spend so much time investing into this thing that I care so much about, this business that I'm starting. And, I mean, ultimately what I, in my mind, it's just a choice. Like, I have to choose her.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing. And I don't think that's bad if you don't make that choice right now. I don't think you feel that
and I'm
way.
not trying to like demonize myself or anybody else who's doing that. It is just this like, maybe gross isn't the right word. It's just it's a realization that I am not prioritizing what I always thought that I would at 27. I always thought I was going to be the 27-year-old with like 3 kids already. And like, I grew up in a conservative family, and meaning more like religiously almost.
Right.
Like, I come from the church, and so like most of my friends were getting engaged at like freaking 19.
Same.
Like, the schools that I looked at going are Wheaton and Bethel, and like the jokes at those colleges are like, ring by spring, like freshmen are getting engaged. And that was just the thing. People start families. By the way, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
No.
But I genuinely thought that was going to be my life. A lot has changed and happened, and I've grown and just found some other things maybe. And like, through that, really found that like, I want a family, but I am in no rush to do so. Yeah. I feel the same way about a record deal as I do about marriage, which is like, it will be awesome when it happens. It will be awesome when it happens, but I cannot force it, and it is out of my control. So when people are like, when are you going to sign a record deal? That is, to me, like asking me, when are you going to get married? It's like, when I find a champion in town, when I find my person.
Yeah. Hey.
Like, that will happen, and I think that's going to be out of my control.
Yeah.
I could also spend a ton of time looking for, if you're drinking at home, my person. And I could spend a ton of time looking for this human being and still not find them.
Yeah.
And then be like, okay, well, why am I burning all of this time and energy to do that? So it's this mind fuck.